So, Andrew, tell me a little bit about yourself and your career journey.
Yeah. So I was born in Cape Town, South Africa. I moved to the UK in 2004. My background or my career transition, a friend of mine described it a bit as the Titanic slowly turning. So I started off studying engineering. I then worked for, almost over a decade in IT and telecoms for FTSE 100 firms. I, from there, transitioned into doing things like project and program management. I came over to the UK in 2004, worked for large telecom companies like BT and Vodafone. Um, then went and did my MBA at Cranfield, which is where we met. Um, and since then, I worked in consulting for a little while, and then I started up a small headhunting firm along with my wife. So we are partners in business. And That's what I've been predominantly doing for the last decade. But subsequently, I also did an MSc in executive coaching at Henley Business School, which kind of started my journey into um, self-discovery, mental well-being, resilience, and I've carried that journey on really, because I'm now at the University of Exeter training part-time to be a psychoanalytic psychotherapist. So doing longer term therapy with people, alongside kind of still helping run the recruiting business and doing some coaching.
Wow,
So,
amazing and brilliant. And I really do like the analogy. I think I might start using it even for myself, considering so it's a different path in the career path, but very
yeah,
much like engineering to MBA and then changing, switching
yeah,
careers and constantly kept switching careers. So,
yeah,
but and I think I really like when you said it's you like the journey of self-discovery, resilience, and
yeah.
how important mental well-being is.
Mm,
Because I think we tend to discover that quite late in our lives. At least I have noticed that about myself, that I learned it, like I started on that journey more when I was doing the MBA. And I
mhm.
wish um, someone had coached me earlier to be on that journey.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I entirely agree with that, and I think part of what inspired me to kind of join you in this endeavor is also that I have two young boys. I have one son of 13 and another son of 11, and there's an awareness of of how anxious our world is becoming for them, and it's a lot of it is because of the pace of change that they are experiencing, and the influence of things such as AI, social media, quantum computing, and the rapid socio-political changes we're experiencing all the time. And I think for them, lessons in perseverance, in kind of self-empathy, and more importantly, I think self-compassion, helps them to build resilience to face, a world that's changing very rapidly. And then there's also the kind of practical aspects of they've got to find a career, they've got to find a job that matches their personalities and their talents. And I'm hoping that you know, something like this would help kids like them to not have to kind of go through the whole Titanic turning experience that I've been through, and maybe they can kind of find their groove a bit faster and a bit quicker.
That's very motivating for me to hear that, Andrea, because that is exactly one of the reasons. That's the background to formation of leaders of our future. Because I've got two boys as well, and it all started with my older one when he turned 11. That I thought, you know, in this ever-changing world and at this pace, they need to be better equipped with some of the soft skills, and they're not currently.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I mean, it's like the only thing that is predictable right now is the unpredictability. So I think it's really important for young men and women to have, resilience, but also to have flexibility, to be able to adapt. And I think that's why, critical thinking skills, the ability to make decisions and make use of information is also so important, because in the times we live now, like, you can get any information you want. You can, information is available at everybody's fingertips, but what do you do with that information, I think, is becoming the big question. How do you assess that information? How do you make use of it? How do you, filter out all the kind of useless noise, which there seems to be a lot of, and actually find the stuff that's valuable. And so I think that's really important. It seems to me that AI will, in a large part, take over jobs that are quite manual, repetitive, relatively analytic. But what won't go away, and I do firmly believe this, is the soft skills, the need for soft skills, the need for relationships. And I reflect on this in our, in the headhunting industry, and the kind of conclusion I always come to is that no AI is going to be able to take a candidate out for a cup of coffee and just kind of get that intuitive personal feel of whether or not they're going to match with the company and the people there. That's, they might be able to filter lists and give you ideas, but it's not going to be able to do that final step ever.
I am in complete agreement with you on that, and Andrea, that yes, where advancement in technology is progressive for us, because we've seen the changes in terms of how things have shaped up in the last 20 years because of technology. So on one hand, you do want to welcome it, but on the other hand, it's a very scary thought as well, that how is that going to change the world in coming years? But it's the soft skills which will always remain for us as humans and give us that competitive edge. Because as you've just said, in terms of that, an AI machine is not going to take someone out for a coffee and understand what the candidate wants and is the candidate right. What's also really interesting is when you said that it can sift through the CVs, is how is everyone adopting AI in the recruitment industry as well? Because some of the researches I've been looking at is that all the advancement that we have made with diversity and inclusion in terms of hiring processes, with AI, the models actually have gone back than all the progression that we had done, the humans have done in terms of making sure that it was more inclusive, the hiring process.
Yeah.
So I think this is where it becomes a bit of a two-edged sword, is that yes, AI is there to support, but you always will need humans with the soft skills.
I agree. And also, I think the underlying assumption that AI is always going to be right is very flawed. So just from that perspective, you will need people who are able to think critically, and think on a level, a social emotional level that AI can't, to actually be able to filter out when it's making mistakes, because it does
Yeah.
make mistakes.
Yeah. And that's where the critical thinking really comes in play. If you have got the right skill sets, you will be able to sift through that information and make a good judgment call.